Trans fats may be fading from the shelves in some countries, but they haven't disappeared, and their legacy remains one of the most dangerous in modern nutrition history. These artificially created fats, primarily found in partially hydrogenated oils, were once widespread in baked goods, margarine, fast food, and shelf-stable snacks. While bans and restrictions in countries like the United States, Canada, and parts of Europe have significantly reduced their prevalence, trans fats remain a hidden threat in many global food systems, particularly in developing countries with weaker regulatory oversight. And where they remain, so does the risk, especially for the heart. Unlike naturally occurring fats, trans fats don't just raise LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol. They also lower HDL, the good cholesterol. This dual action makes them uniquely harmful to the cardiovascular system. LDL particles, when elevated, can infiltrate the arterial walls and trigger inflammation, ultimately leading to the buildup of atherosclerotic plaque. HDL, on the other hand, helps clear excess cholesterol from the bloodstream. When trans fats suppress HDL, they strip the body of its natural defense system. This combination dramatically increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes. The mechanism is even more insidious than numbers suggest. Trans fats promote chronic inflammation, damage the endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels, and make the blood more prone to clotting. These effects collectively destabilize the cardiovascular system over time, turning what might seem like a benign dietary ingredient into a powerful trigger for life-threatening disease. Even small amounts of trans fat, just 2% of total daily calories, have been associated with a 20% to 30% increased risk of coronary heart disease. Despite global efforts to eliminate them, trans fats continue to infiltrate diets through imported goods, street foods, and mislabeled products. In countries without strict labeling laws or enforcement mechanisms, manufacturers may still use partially hydrogenated oils because they're cheap, shelf-stable, and enhance flavor and texture. For consumers, especially in low-income areas, this creates a situation where dangerous fats are hiding in everyday foods, breads, pastries, frying oils, without any clear warning. While high-income nations have made progress, the World Health Organization estimates that trans fats still contribute to over 500,000 deaths annually from cardiovascular disease. This is not just a historical issue, it's a current, ongoing problem that reflects inequalities in food regulation, access, and education. The global supply chain often funnels lower quality, high-risk ingredients into underregulated markets, creating what amounts to a public health time bomb. On a more hopeful note, complete elimination of industrial trans fats is possible and highly effective. Countries that have banned or heavily restricted trans fats have seen measurable drops in heart disease rates within just a few years. Denmark was the first to implement such policies in the early 2000s, and since then, multiple studies have documented significant cardiovascular improvements across populations following regulation. Individuals still need to be vigilant. When labels list partially hydrogenated oils, that's a red flag. But in many countries, labeling is insufficient or misleading. Trans fats may also appear in fried street food or baked goods made with imported shortenings. Until global bans are universal, the burden remains on the consumer to read labels, avoid ultra-processed products, and favor whole, unprocessed foods. The war against trans fats isn't over. They may be out of sight for some, but they remain a major threat for millions. And unlike many other dietary risks, the damage from trans fats is avoidable, unnecessary, and entirely man-made. Eliminating them from the global food supply is not just a matter of health, it's a matter of justice.